Hi there, I'm Tom Field. I'm Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. I want to welcome you to ISMG Studio, where we're talking about Project Power Up. Here to discuss it with me is Joe Marshall. He is the Senior Security Strategist with Cisco Talos. Joe, thank you so much for joining me here in the big studio today.
Thank you for the invitation. It's cool to be here.
Start here. Talk a little bit about yourself and your background, which I'm sure you enjoy doing.
Yeah, a little bit. So I've been with Talos almost 9 years now. This September will be 9 years. I used to work in the electric utility space, and then I worked in as a contractor space as well. And I have, just by dumb luck and hard work, managed to accrue a diverse skill set and knowledge background, from critical infrastructure to malware to, threat actor adversaries behavior to just you name it. And it's been a wild ride. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I've had a chance to read some of your blogs, and I really enjoy the work that you've done.
Thank you.
I've got to ask you how you got involved in Project Power Up, because the reality is way more interesting than even the name of it.
Yeah. Dumb luck. That's how it happened. I
thought this was the hard work part.
Oh, no. It was, sometimes being in the right place at the right time really helps. February of last year, I was having dinner with some Ukrainians in San Jose. They were there to visit the Cisco offices, and I flew all the way to give them a cyber brief. And so we had dinner the night before, and I was very fortunate to be invited, because it would be the catalyst for me to start this Project Power Up, this amazing multinational, multi-company effort to help the Ukrainians have a few more creature comforts and keep the power on over in Ukraine. And from that dinner, and just a very casual comment they mentioned about not having precision navigation time, or as we know it, GPS, we were able to put together this amazing team in an 8-month journey to really do something that's never been done before.
So what were some of the unique challenges to just keeping the lights on in Ukraine?
Everything. So power grid work at its best is incredibly dangerous. We're talking high voltages, something breaks in a storm, and we have to go do vegetation management, safety, safety, safety. And that's anywhere in the world, certainly in the United States and North America. Now, do all of that while you're being shot at. And you can see how the danger just goes through the roof, because in this particular case, we know that the Russian adversary is specifically targeting critical infrastructure. And so power plants, substations, transmission lines, the things that are essential for any modern country to enjoy civilization. It's been a real challenge for them.
What were some of the unique approaches you brought to bear?
Everything. When you are doing something that has never been done before, the first thing you do is you go and you find the smartest people you can find, and then you pitch this unique problem to them. And fortunately, at Cisco, and certainly at Talos, we are wired to be that way. That's the people that we look for in our organization and inside of Cisco. We just assembled this team of just great professionals, and they are dyed-in-the-wool experts, which is difficult to find in an 80,000 person company, I might add. But with executive buy-in and the right connections, we were able to make a significant difference in the lives of 40 million people.
Talk about the whole GPS angle, because that's unique to this, and that was something you weren't prepared to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my prior electric utility days, I knew GPS was very important, but it had been 9 years ago that I had worked in that space. So when they mentioned that they had extremely infrequent GPS, which is essential to power grids, not where you are, but when you are, they use it for time, then it just stuck in my brain like a nail in my head. And I would begin to do a lot of investigations into how it matters. And effectively, if you were to think of a marching band that is 25,000 kilometers long, and the tubas can't hear the drums, the woodwinds can't hear the trumpets, but every 2 seconds I need everyone to step on their left foot, it's not going to happen. They're going to make mistakes. And if I have a single source of truth, a stopwatch, I can measure that effectively. And now our band members are electrons traveling across high voltage line. And when they lose GPS, that's a problem, because they lose the ability, they fly blind, basically, and the equipment doesn't know what to do in their substations. And we had to innovate a rapid solution to basically counteract this problem of them losing GPS because of the war.
I think it's just fascinating. Now, beyond that, what do you draw from that experience that we can apply more broadly to protecting critical infrastructure?
Great question. There is a sort of belief that we focus on ourselves. We focus on North America because that's where we live, obviously. But the reality is that if you want the straight ground truth, you don't go to the most secure, you go to the least secure, who struggle to keep the power on, who fight cyber attacks, who are fighting electronic warfare attacks. You see their struggles, you look at their innovation and their ingenuity they take to be able to keep an electric grid operating in some of the most adverse conditions humans can endure. And you can learn so much and bring so many of those lessons back to where you are and go, if they can do it and they're being innovative, there's great ideas we can use here.
So Joe, given your experience, what are the critical infrastructure threats that we really need to focus on the most today?
Well, that's a tough question. I think there is the ability to really focus on your fundamentals. All right. So we think about converged technologies, from information technology to operational technology. Convergence is fine. But business imperatives drive these things, whether you're in a utility or you're manufacturing. So being upfront with and honest with yourselves about risk, especially cyber risk, that can impact pharmaceuticals, aeronautics, utilities, oil and gas. And I think also it pays to pay attention to geopolitics. Unfortunately, we don't live in the safe and secure world that we lived in 5 years ago. So we have, the China-Taiwan, we have, Russia and Ukraine. It is a very fraught world geopolitically right now. And that tension creates downstream risk to others who may look at that and go, am I next, or should I be concerned? And what lessons can I learn from them to make sure I'm shoring up my critical infrastructure? So paying attention to the world really matters.
And given that, what is it that senior security leaders need to do to ensure that their enterprise leaders and their teams are aligned and focused in the right areas?
The thing that I find that helps, so in Project Power Up, I had to get senior executive buy-in to both donate $1 million of equipment to help the Russians fight off the Russians and keep the Ukrainians with the lights on. And I learned a lot about leadership. And I learned a lot about getting that buy-in is everything. And the way that I did it was I simply told a story. I said, here are my objectives, very clear. Let's give them power. And once I was able to explain that, I was able to bring people in. And just by the simple power of a narrative, doesn't have to be a complex story. And then you can go, these are our objectives. These are our performance metrics we need to have. This is the story of our success, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 3 fiscal quarters, whatever measurement metric you're using. And then get that buy-in from them. That buy-in is everything. And I think just sort of to just focus on that just a little deeper, I've been very fortunate in my time with Cisco to travel the world and talk to so many different people in different organizations. And the most underinvested thing I see when I talk to folks, and these are from Fortune 5 to Fortune 5000, is it's not the investment in technology, it's the investment in people. So investing in your folks through training, through giving them room, like I was given room to go help the Ukrainians, will pay untold dividends to your enterprise if you just believe in your people, hire smartly, and then equip them to go do good.
Joe, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service to Ukraine.
Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini.
For Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thank you very much for giving us your time and attention today for this very important story.